Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ. I'm Prashant Mavani. The date today is 11th September 2017. I'll take you through the Hindu analysis today. Let's see what we have got. But before moving ahead, let me introduce all of you to pen drive and tablet courses of StudyIQ. If you are preparing for SSC exams, bank exams, UPSC exams, or if you are preparing for any state level public service exams or other government exams, then these are one of the most essential thing that you should have. If you don't know anything about it, all I would suggest is give us a call on this number. If you have question or query, feel free to express it on this number, or you can also use our studyiq.com website as well. Now, we have talked about Rohingyas quite a bit time, right? We have talked about nearly 3 or 4 times as before Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Myanmar. We have discussed about Rohingya issue because this thing is something going on since last 2 weeks. Anyways, so it's definitely there is no requirement for us to go into what things happened or into the age-old things, because we have already talked about. But for the new listeners, I would give you a small background. See, there are 135 officially recognized ethnic groups in Myanmar, but Rohingyas have not been recognized. They are not considered, or they are not recognized as ethnic groups of Myanmar. So this is the reason, and this is going on since the longest time, since somewhere around 1980s. So these people are generally predominantly they are working as laborers, they are working as slaves in, so their economical condition is not that good in Myanmar. As they have no economic condition, that actually means that they are not powerful as well, though they are in bit of huge population in Rakhine state, that is in the northwest side of Myanmar. So there was a sort of conflict took place between the Rohingya militants and military, and because of this many people have died. Some people from the military side have lost their lives, somewhere around 50 or 20 people, but majority of the people who have passed away is from the Rohingya community. Many of them could be militants who have used weapon against the forces or against the military force, or there could be there are of course many people who are innocent. They are normal civilians like you and I, so they have also lost their life, and Myanmar authorities are saying that it could be somewhere around 400, but the bodies that are keeping watch on the whole situation, like world level medias and etc. other groups, they claim that it is somewhere around 1000 or something more than that. Now the present situation is that nearly 3 lakh refugees and 3 lakh Rohingyas have become refugees, and they are heading towards Bangladesh, or they are trying to come into India. Now at present Bangladesh is under immense strain, because Bangladesh itself is a country that is one of the world's most densely populated nation. That means in 1 kilometer square area, maximum amount of people you find that is in Bangladesh. It is a small country, but it has huge population. So it is already facing all these problems. We know the condition of Bangladesh. It is not one of the richest countries, so it has its own problem. It is a poor country. It is facing similar sort of challenges that India is facing. So it is impossible for them, or it is very difficult for Bangladesh to accept 3 lakh refugees. Right? It is going to add burden to their finance and their resources, natural resources and food resources and other things. Anyways, there are in total, as you can imagine, 6 lakh Rohingyas are living in or are hosted in Bangladesh, in compared to India has just 40,000. Now they are crossing, these people are crossing Naf river. This has been mentioned many times in news, and I will show you the map as well. After a couple of slides I will show it to you where exactly it is, because there are some questions that can be formed. We'll discuss when we see this Naf river. Now there are some international organizations that are mentioned, and you know that in MCQ questions they do ask you about international organization. You find questions regarding this sort of organizations every year, so it is important for us to understand the basic nature of this sort of international organizations that are mentioned particularly in articles, right? After 6 months, 7 months, you may forget about it. It depends how good you are doing your revision. But if you know the basic understanding, I will show you some of the tricks that you can use, and based on that you can develop a common sense. You can develop your common understanding, and with the help of common sense you would be able to answer these questions in your prelims, right? May it be prelims of your SSC, or may it be of UPSC or any state level exams. I'll show you to you how it works. Like, see, United Nations Human Rights Council. Now the name itself suggests UN. That means this body is going to be this particular body is of United Nation, right? So if you find a question whether it is United Nation, whether it is part of United Nation or not, then it's just a matter of common sense, isn't it? UN, that means United Nations Human Rights Council. Now you may find that it should be that HRC when we say Human Rights Council, but it is written here it is generally spoken as Human Rights Council, right? So but the official is Human Commission of or something like that. So but never mind, it's not important as far as you know that it is a body of United Nations. The other organization is World Food Program, right? World Food Program basically is not part of United Nations. It is a humanitarian organization and it is fighting hunger worldwide. The name itself suggests, right, food. Now here you may confuse it with like it would be engaged in producing more foods. No, it is, you can relate this with they are coming and working with Rohingya people. They are trying to help them out. So naturally in this condition they can't ask Rohingya people to increase food production. Of course it is about feeding the hungry stomachs at present. So World Food Program is helping people fighting hunger. They are working in India, they are working in Sudan, they are working in Nigeria and other parts of the world. They are working for Rohingyas as well. Now one of the main objective of World Food Program is in line with Sustainable Development Goals. We have talked about it, so I'm not going into detail regarding this thing because it would be more repetitive, but there are 17 sustainable goals and the main target is that by 2030 whole world would be, out of this 17 goals, one goal is to end poverty and hunger, right? So the target is by 2030 no person in this world will sleep hungry. That's what the target is. Now we have to wait and watch whether we would be able to achieve this target, because we have missed Millennium Development Goals that were supposed to be fulfilled by 2015. So this is next 15 years agenda. Anyways, moving ahead, there is a third organization and that is known as International Committee of the Red Cross. You might have heard about Red Cross or you might have seen its official logo. It looks like a red cross. It's like more like a plus, right? But it is red. It is located, its headquarters is in Geneva, that is in Switzerland. It was established in 1863 and its main aim is to help people who are affected in any sort of violence or sort of war situation, right? Victims of war, you can say that. So this relate again with this that Red Cross is basically working as an sort of ambulance, right? You can relate it. I'm just giving you some clues, so just in case if you find this sort of question, then you can tackle it. Moving on, Naf River, as I told you, see here is the Naf River, the red line here, right? This is Naf River. It is lying between Myanmar and Bangladesh. Remember, it is between Myanmar and Bangladesh. And the other thing regarding Naf River is that we know that people are crossing this Naf River, taking all the risk they can, because on the other side they find spray of bullets coming towards them. So it is better for them to take a risk of crossing this deadly river. And because when I say deadly, it does not mean it is infamous for killing people. The main reason is that the boats on which they are traveling, they are carrying more people than their capacity, and many a times you find that people are dying because of starvation or because of sinking of these boats. So Bangladesh, it is, if you find a question that Naf River is located between which of the given below countries, Nepal or India, Nepal or Bangladesh, Myanmar or Myanmar, India, then the answer, you know it very well, it will be Bangladesh and Myanmar. Moving on, Bangladesh is not happy about the stand India has taken, because in recent visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Myanmar, rather than taking a tough stand, rather than taking side of all these refugees who are being affected, we have already seen that in Parliament, government has said that it is going to send back 40,000 Rohingyas who are at present in India. They are going to go back. Of course, we are not going to throw them away. We will try to sort out the situation and ensure that they are not killed or they do not go through all sorts of violence. But rather than looking after them, we are in hurry to transport them back, right? Now, as India didn't take any sort of tough stand, this has basically disappointed Bangladesh. The Sheikh Hasina government has generally been very inclined towards India. She has helped India many times, and when India is not taking a tough stand, then it is definitely going to disappoint her. And it's not only about Bangladesh, it is about other countries as well, because India is projected, India is in fact as well a big brother in this area of South Asia, right? If any countries apart from Pakistan, if any other countries that are here, if they are in any sort of need, then it is India that is going to help them. So naturally, if there are any problems, then they expect that India will take a tough stand. India will work as a judge and will try to sort it out, but India has not done it. In Bali Declaration, Bali basically is an island in island of Indonesia, and so here in this place, Bali, there was a parliamentary forum on sustainable development goals, about which you know, right? So in this sustainable development goals, the other countries said that we should do something about Rohingyas, but India said that, look, we are here to discuss sustainable development goals, we are not here to discuss about Rohingyas, so we are not going to sign it. This is what happened in here. So this has basically disappointed Sheikh Hasina. She has already said in a sort of official statement that any country, she was pointing towards Myanmar, that if your people have, if there is a condition created in your country that your people have to leave your country and they have to head towards another country, then this is a matter of shame for your nation and you should not do it. That's what she said, and this raises big questions about India as well, because on what platform at United Nations or any other platforms, when we are with Africa, India-Africa Summit, or when we are in BRICS or any other summits, then you will always find that India will say that we will do something for humanity, we will do this and that, etc., etc. But here, when the time has, when there is a call of time that India should take a stand, it is not taking, and this is also not this is not again in line with our tradition of India. We know it very well that Atithi Devo Bhava, that means the guest is equivalent to God. This has been the tradition of our country for the time unknown, right, from thousands and thousands of years. And it's not that this is the first time this sort of situation has been created. Even with Parsis, when they landed in Gujarat, they were embraced with open arms. Tibetans, we know Dalai Lama is living here, and there are many Tibetans who are living in India. Afghani people, you have Sri Lankan Tamils, you have Bangladeshis who came to India during 1971 war. So we have all sort of people. Even in fact, there are many peoples who have left Pakistan during partition and they are living in Kashmir, and itself it was in today's newspaper, The Hindu, that they have approached Supreme Court regarding Article 35A, that deals with the permanent residency clause of Constitution and Jammu and Kashmir. So you can see that you will find Jews here, as I told you, we have talked about it. So India should do something about it, because it is not projecting India as a big brother over here. The other thing that it is creating cracks between India and Bangladesh, because see, Bangladesh, as I told you, has always been helpful, particularly the Sheikh Hasina government. They have helped us in sorting out the cross-border terrorism. They have eliminated the insurgency groups that were there operating in Bangladeshi soil. At present, the border between these two countries are the safest, and what happens is with Bangladesh, they are giving these things to us, but when it comes to giving back to Bangladesh, we are not able to fulfill our promise. And this reminds me of river Tista. Now, this Tista river was there was a question in 2017 prelims regarding Tista. Tista is a river that originates from Sikkim, then it enters into West Bengal, and then finally it enters into Bangladesh. And there are farmers living in the place where you find Tista in nearby in Bangladesh area. So water for them is necessary for their irrigation project and irrigating their agriculture land. So there is an issue going on for the longest time, but we haven't been able to sort it out yet. So this is disappointing Bangladesh, and whenever it comes to like China and Bangladesh, whenever we find that their relations are growing stronger, then India promptly does something to please them, right? And this sort of promptness is not expressed when it comes to humanitarian crisis. So this is the thing, and this will again in future, if we are going to, like you know that when it comes to Madhesis, India is taking stand. When it comes to Sri Lankan Tamils, when it comes to Bhutanese people, then India is taking a stand, but it is not seen taking stand in Myanmar, and this will definitely dent the image of India. And again, it also reminds that India's vision is not that wide. India is focusing more on geopolitics based complex things, like more about political opportunism and economic interest rather than upholding the principles and values, right? So this is the main thing regarding this. Now another article is about the probe, how the whole investigation should be carried on, and it is about the Gauri Lankesh, the murder of Gauri Lankesh. This is not the first time any person who has stood up and has faced death in our country. We have lost Mahatma Gandhi in the similar way, because there were some groups who were not happy with the views of Bapu. If we go through the National Crime Record Bureau, then we find that since 2015, 140 attacks took place on journalists, and out of this 140 attack, 70 people got murder. But we know only about famous ones. Now these people, Miss Lankesh was famous, Pansare was famous, Dabolkar and Kalburgi, these people were celebrities, sort of, right, in the world of journalists. But there are many people who have lost their life because they stood for something that was right. They were seeking information, they were spreading information that was right, and they have faced death because of this thing. Now, because what happened with Gauri Lankesh, the Karnataka government has provided 18 writers and activists with police protection. The other thing is that the investigation is going on for the longest time. Since 2013 in the case of Dabolkar, from 2015, February 2015, in Pansare, August 2015, Kalburgi, but still we haven't seen any sort of logical conclusion. We still don't know who has done it, right? We haven't got it. We got one person, his name is Virendra Tavde. He works for Sanathan Sanstha organization, that is a radical Hindu organization. It is Goa based organization, and we have the CBI has basically caught him, but since then nothing has came out. Of course they have kept this organization under their watch list, but still there is no logical or credible evidence that we can prosecute this Virendra Tavde. Anyways, what is happening at present is different investigating agencies are dealing with different cases. Like CBI is looking after the Dabolkar case, Maharashtra Special Investigation Team is looking after Pansare case, and then you have Kalburgi case is investigated by Karnataka police, and SIT is formed to look after the Lankesh case. And if these are the things that are going on, if this is the way, by like bifurcated or different people are working in different, basically if they are not going to work together, then they are going to miss the larger conspiracy. Even the Bombay High Court has said that there is a clear connection between the Dabolkar and Pansare case. Then why we can, I wonder why there are two different agencies looking after. If something is coming out from the same house, then why we have two different agencies looking after it? This is really something which is out of logic. The other thing is that the weapons, right? The forensic analysis says that the weapons, or not the weapons, but the bullets that were used to hit Dabolkar, Pansare and Kalburgi cases has shown that the weapons used could be the same. Remember, it is not similar here, it is not a type of weapon, it indicates that it is the same weapon through which bullets were fired. That means there would be one person, he or she would be working as a professional assassin, and there would be a person who is working as a brain, right? So this is a sort of organized sort of crime that is taking place. So the best thing is that all the agencies, or there should be one interstate task force or judicial commission that could be working or could be under the monitor of this Supreme Court. And because of this, if one team is working for finding out the truth about this incidents, then hopefully we will find something that is going on in our country. And we don't know who are the next people in this people's list, right? And we have to stop it for sure. And the government, may it be center government or may it be the state government, they have to send out a clear message, not in verbal form but in action form, that when it comes to creating any sort of anarchy or violence in our society, then government is going to take a form of like zero tolerance, right? That would be zero tolerance when it comes to this sort of violence. Now, Rationalist, again, it is related with Miss Lanke's case, and we have talked about crony capitalism. You know that she stood for caste hierarchy and all these things. Basically, rationalists are the people who are more emphasizing on logic, right? They believe in, rather than believe, I would rather say that they don't believe, right? For them, it is not something would be there or not. They are more practical. They will raise questions against the normal society setup, right? So, and this people are not only in India. You find them throughout the whole world. Many things that may look strange. Many times we find ideas of people. We say that this person is talking out of his or her mind, but in future we find that no, they were right. Like a couple of years ago, maybe 200 years ago, if someone would have been talking about that people can fly, then everyone would laugh. But now flights have made it possible, isn't it? So many times they may look too harsh. And one more thing regarding rationalists is that they are a bit blunt, right? They will, if they have something to say, they will say it straight away. They will not, generally speaking, they will not be soft that someone will get hurt or not. If they know that something is right, then they will speak it out. It doesn't matter even if they have to face any sort of opposition or maybe this sort of situation as well. And recently Romila Thapar, who is a very famous historian, has said that these people are like this rationalist who we find in our country, this Lankesh and Kalburi and others, are following what Buddha used to follow, right? Lokayukta philosophy, the democratic philosophy or the Buddhist philosophy. In fact, you know that many a time throughout the history you will find, as I told you, Mahatma Gandhi, then you would be knowing about Socrates. If we take the recent example, then we know that also Rajneesh, he used to speak many things that may not fancy some of the traditional ears, but he used to speak it out, and he too was attacked many times. In fact, Buddha was attacked many times. Socrates was in fact killed. So this has been going on for the longest period of time. Moving on to another item that is regarding Spain, and now we hardly find Spain in the news apart from football, but Spain is in news, and it is about Catalonia, right? What is it all about? I will of course explain it to you, but before that, let's look at where Spain is. Here is Europe, and you can see France, and just on the southern side of France you see Spain, and then you have a small country that is predominantly coastal country, that is Portugal. Now the other thing is that this whole area, you can see water from this side, you have water here, you have water, and here. So an area that is covered by water from three sides, and you will better understand with the help of, this is our India, right? This is the southern bit of India. This is your Gujarat. Sorry for this rough drawing. I'm using a mouse to draw it. But basically this part is known as peninsular part because you find water here, here, and here. On one side you have Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and Indian Ocean. In the same way, Spain and Portugal and this whole area is known as Iberian Peninsula. Right, Iberian Peninsula, because you have Atlantic Ocean, then you have Mediterranean Sea, and then you have Strait of Gibraltar. So because of this, we call it as English Channel, basically over on the northern side. Of course, it's part of Atlantic Ocean's water. Then you have a Strait of Gibraltar. That means there is a small passage of water through which you can enter and exit Mediterranean Sea from Atlantic Ocean. Right, so this is a small water body that is connecting Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. It is known as Strait of Gibraltar. Right, this is some basic things regarding Spain. Its capital is Madrid, and this is Catalonia area, and its biggest city is Barcelona. It is very famous. It is a very famous tourist destination. A couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, it was in international news because of there was a flight mishap that took place, that took off from Barcelona, and maybe Barcelona or Madrid, I'm not sure, but there was an accident that took place over here, right? A plane accident took place, and at that point of time this area was in news. Anyways, moving ahead, now what has happened is that Catalonia is basically it wants to become an independent country. At present it is like a state of Spain, right? Just like Gujarat, Rajasthan, or Madhya Pradesh, or Kerala, it is a state of Spain. Now the thing regarding Catalonia is that it is an industrial hub. It is very rich, right? It is one of the it is financially very stable. This state is rich state basically. It accounts to like nearly 18.8% of Spanish GDP, and if it is secedes, right, if it bifurcates from Spain, then it is going to cost 20% loss to the Spain economy. The other thing is, if it is richer than Israel and South Korea and Italy as well, if it becomes a sort of independent countries. And a couple of years ago there was a demand of Scotland as well. It wanted to exit from United Kingdom, but that didn't took place. Scotland still is part of UK, but the economy of this Catalonia area is twice that of its contribution is twice in Spain economy compared to Scotland's contribution to the UK economy. Now this is a long-standing conflict that is going on, and basically it at present that the state government came out with a law that we can conduct a sort of voting, and if people say yes, even if say for example out of 100 people, if only 50 people come to vote, and out of that 50, if 26 people say yes, go ahead with it, and 24 say no, we don't want to get separated, then as well we will go ahead and we will start the process of exiting the Spain country, and we will become an independent country. So the central government is not happy with it. The Constitutional Court as well has said that this law is not viable. This is illegal law, and this has created a sort of upsurge in this part of the world, that is in Spain, and this is also affecting the European democracy. We have seen, or you might be knowing, that democracy is the word that is coming from ancient Greek. At that point of time they used to have a sort of democratic setup. Of course it was not as up to date as it is today, but it was democracy in Greek in the longest. We are talking about 3,000 years ago. And the French Revolution, after which we got all the ideas of nationalism and freedom of speech and expression and all this thing. So this is a continent where you find the cradles of democracy, right? And here something is going on. The way the center and states are handling this issue is not a bit of democracy, and it is going to be it may bring a bit of shame for European democracy as well. Now why it triggered, of course, the more affluent area, or the more rich area, to make it more simple, right? This rich state was asking for more independence in dealing with the money they produce, etc., etc., and the central government said no. So this made them unhappy. And the other thing is that the way Spain is in debt, it has to pay a huge amount of money to European Union, and Catalonia does not want to bear the brunt of the wrong things done by the Madrid, right? That is the capital. They don't want to suffer from the decisions that are taken in Madrid. They don't want to suffer from it. So these are the two basic reasons that is triggering them to exit out of it. A very interesting article on forest. If you are preparing for IFS, that is Indian Forest Services, right, then this article you should save it, right? You should save it and read it. If you are not preparing for IFS, and if you are preparing for as a part of general studies, you can go through the questions, and you will find that one question will be there either on climate change and on forest or natural environment, and you will find it since the longest time. It is not something that you find in only 2017, 2016, 2015. You will find it in 86 or 97 as well, right? In 1997's UPSC and other exams, because this is something going on for the longest time, right? So let's see what this author has to say, Mr. Peter. The Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change works by the the main guiding thing or the policy is National Forest Policy. You should remember this, National Forest Policy of 1988. Now, as per the national policy, it talks about environmental stability and it talks about ecological balance. But the author says there is nothing like ecological balance, right? This term, he says, was it originated from the balance of nature in ancient Greek, and in the Middle Ages as well it was used. But at present the ecological textbooks do not have anything called ecological balance, right? So there is nothing like ecological balance. So this point in 1988 policy is wrong. The other thing is it talks about environmental stability. Now, the nature of environment itself is unstable. If it is stable, then it is not going to grow. It is something like our life, right? It is not always the same. You have happy moments, you have sad moments. If it is always happy, then you are not going to enjoy it. If it's always sad, then you are always be in the pain. So something similar is that some sort of destructions, then creation. So this things goes on. So we cannot say that there is anything like environmental stability, and that's what this author says as well. Now he defines forest, but he also says that there is no official definition of forest, but he gives one. This is the beauty of any person who is talking, right? If there are people and they are in majority, they can highlight like this is a wrong thing. It is one of the most easiest thing to find out faults. But it is greater, or it is a person who is a great person, or you can say a person who is not here to create troubles but to provide solution. That person will give you definition as well. He or she will provide you, if there is a definition is missing, then he or she will give you, here you go, this is your definition. So the definition as per Mr. Peter is that it is a self-sown, self-regenerating community of plants that supports a community of creatures dependent on those plants and on each other for food and shelter. So you have flora and fauna. All are dependent on each other. There are some animals that are dependent on plants. There are some animals that are dependent on other animals, and in this way the things goes on and on, right? So this is a basic definition of forest, which we don't have. We don't have any official definition. This definition is provided by Peter. Now the self-sown bit is important, because what we are trying to do is we are planting trees. We are planting different trees in different areas and we are trying to create jungle. But this is not the way it works, right? This way it is not going to work. We have to leave it alone, right? All we have to do is leave it alone, and naturally things will start popping up. If you interfere, then you are disturbing. It may look green, it may achieve this sort of, it may help in sucking some of the carbon dioxide that is out there, right? You may find some birds and some animals if we create this sort of artificial jungles or forest, but it is not going to be as eco-friendly, or you won't find that ecosystem cycle working as it should, or as it works in natural setup. The second point, there are basically 3 points about which he is talking, and the second point he talks about that the second point talks about conserving the natural heritage, but it does not define, or it does not include the grasslands, wetlands and ecosystem. What he says that regarding planting, if you plant directly, if you go for trees, if you plant trees, then it is not going to help your soil. It is not going to help your soil microorganisms, because in natural setup what happens is you find small grasses, then this grass after few time, or after some years, you find this grass is converted into shrubs. So you will have shrubs and grass, and then you have some bushes, and then finally the last stage is trees. So you have all the different layers of forest. But if you are directly going with trees, then you won't find these grasses and shrubs and all these things, and this is not going to be eco-friendly, or the ecosystem is not going to be complete, right? Moving on to another items, he points out the third point, and he talks about soil erosion and things like that. Now, in this definition, the official definition does not talks about it. It is limited. It is very limited, right? It is not talking about conserving rivers and lakes or in natural way. It is talking about how human beings can save it, things like that. And this person says that if we leave it to the nature, all we do is if we provide protective care, just if we ensure that we do not disturb the nature, then naturally the plants and all the greeneries and all the animals, everyone is going to look after. Naturally the earth will work in its own way, and it will help in soil erosion, right? It will hold the soil. It will not result in all those of the things that we are finding at present, and it will also the water that is basically the rainwater that is passing from this part, it will turn into a river that is flowing throughout the year, and we will not see a situation in peninsular. Now you know what is peninsular India, connected with the Spain discussion that we did earlier. So rather than we having seasonal rivers, we will start having perennial rivers. So all the problems that we are going through will be sorted out if we work towards it. The biggest worry that he expresses is that it has been 30 years since 1988, but no Indian Forest Service officer has ever pointed out these shortcomings. This is, see, many times these are the things that take place. If you are outsider, then you can see the issue, but the insiders, they are so used to with the things, they cannot see the main problem. Moving on to another items now is basically Rajnath Singh was in the Home Minister Rajnath Singh was in Jammu and Kashmir, and he has said that in near future Jammu and Kashmir will become or the government will turn it into heaven. Together state and central government will turn it back into heaven. It was known as Jannat, if you might be knowing it, right? And the other thing is he has also appreciated the courage and the duty that has been done by all the brave soldiers and all the police personnel. At the same time, you find Congress delegation going over here and trying to sort out things, or they are also trying to meet different parties here and they're trying to find out. But the thing is, if we are talking about Kashmir, then how about both Congress and BJP? They can together go there over there. Until if we don't have union in this side, then how we expect that things will be okay in Jammu and Kashmir? So this is again an outsider view. This should be the thing. Then now Dhaka is a bit happy regarding what we have talked about, but this is in the news. That was articles from editorial page. So now finally India has said that we are going to sort it out, the Rohingya issue. We are concerned about what is going on in Myanmar and what is going on with Rohingyas. So this is a small news. Now I'm sure it would be a piece of cake for you guys to understand this thing. Rohingya militants, they have said that okay, ceasefire, no more firing between us and nothing. We will not fire on the military of Myanmar, because we want all this international organization to help and help these people who are starving and who are migrating from here and there. So they have said, but the government has said that we do not discuss anything with terrorists. So as I told you earlier, the things are not going to be solved that easily. Fierce Irma slams Florida. We have talked about Irma. I have shown you its path. We have talked about many things about the islands and many other things. So what we get now is basically updates regarding how many people have been passed away. It is very sad, right? But this is how you should this is how things unfold, right? This is part of your how-to preparation as well. This is how you study, right? And the step by step you will understand many things that generally it looks a bit difficult, but as you get used to with it, and as I told you earlier, that continuity is the key. If you are associated with this lecture every single day, then you will find that, as I've told you earlier, that after a couple of weeks you will find that you are knowing more things than you used to know. You will find that your capacity has already built. It is building. You will find it is building. It will always grow. There is no point where you have to reach. It is like you have to keep on moving. Afghanistan and India are going to discuss bilateral relation. The foreign minister is in India to discuss it, and both both finance minister, I beg your pardon, both foreign ministers are going to have discussion with each other. With this, we end this lecture here. Do not forget to order your pen drive and tablet courses. You can give us a call on this number, or you can go to our website. With this, I end this discussion here. Do not forget to get your PDF file of this lecture. We can get it from our website and our Telegram channel. Do not forget to subscribe, share, like and comment. With this, I end this lecture. See you all. Take care. Jai Hind.